Hello and welcome to Inside the Mind of, a podcast where I dive deeper into the minds of some of my favorite people and people who inspire me in the wrestling community. Joining me today, she is the host of the Maps and Graps podcast. She is a freelance writer, and a pretty good one if you ask me. And one of the hosts of the Dynamite Book podcast on Body Slam, Miss Lyric Swinton. Hello, how are you?
Hello, very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I reached out to you, ironically enough, before Haley tagged you. So I was like, oh, perfect. I already reached out to her. I've had Haley on. I love Haley to pieces.
I love Haley as well.
Oh, she's a gem of a human being. When she watches this, I hope she appreciates the love that she gets. So let's just dive right into this. How did you get your start in podcasting and just writing in general?
Ooh, so I think those are actually two separate questions. So I have been writing since elementary school. I used to participate in like young writers competitions and stuff like that, go to summits. When I was in middle school and high school, we have something here in South Carolina called the Governor's School for Arts and Humanities. And so they would host summer camps for gifted kids in like different arts. And so I went for 2 summers in the creative writing program. So writing has always been a part of my life. Like when I was in high school, I was the first sophomore to be editor-in-chief of my school newspaper. So writing has always been like a really big part of my life. I used to always like submit poetry whenever we would have like what is it, literary magazines and things like that. And I did that like through college as well. But podcasting came my senior year of college. And so I had a lot to say. And I just had a lot to say. I was coming off of a year where I did a lot of things, and I felt like I was still trying to figure myself out. So I ran for student body president that year. I had been a student activist leading protests mere months before. And I just noticed like there was no space. So we had a student podcast network. And there was no Black podcasts. Like I don't even think was there any women centric podcast. So I remember I had an idea, and I was like, like I wanted to make a podcast called The Patchwork Feminist, and it's about like all the different things in life through the lens of being a woman. I would have like on guests from all sorts of backgrounds, and it was like really fun. Like I ended up being the first podcast on the network to ever get sponsored. And we were able to do a lot of things with it. And actually it still exists today. Like I passed it down to another student when I graduated, and she passed it down to another student, all Black women. And so it's still, still going. And I am just, I kind of got out of it for a while. Like, well, obviously when I graduated, because I graduated mid-pandemic, so my graduation got canceled. And I had picked up a podcast, like a try, but it never really felt right. Like I did like 3 episodes. I was like, this isn't what I really want to talk about. But 2022 happened, and I kind of hit a wall. Like I really hit a wall in my life. Like I had been going overachiever. And like I suffered from severe burnout and depression. And I've been a wrestling fan though for 17 years now. But I reconnected with it in a really different way during that time in my life. And I just fell in love with it again. And like not just wrestling again, but the full breadth of it. And so really diving deep into like, Japanese wrestling, all these different things. And I just suddenly get so inspired. And I went on my first wrestling trip, like the first time I had ever traveled to go see wrestling, which was Full Gear 2022. Loved it. Went again for Ring of Honor Final Battle 22, which was, the Briscoes' last match. And I was just so inspired. And I remember heading into 2023, somebody had asked me, Keeks, she asked me to come on her podcast one time, and I had a really good time. And she was just like, well, you like traveling and stuff, like, maybe you should do a podcast with like your travels or something. And I was like, that makes sense. And so the wheels had started turning, and then Jay Briscoe passed away. And I remember I was saying like, I wasn't even supposed to be at that show. and it ended up being his last show. And it kind of like made me realize life is short. And so my birthday's in February, and so that was January, and then my birthday's in February. So I turned 25, and I said, you know what? I've spent the first 25 years of my life really kind of, in a lot of ways, living for other people and, you know, doing all the things. And like I said, for 1 year, I am going to throw everything I have at the wall, because wrestling's something I've always wanted to pursue. I have a degree in sport and entertainment management. That's actually what I ended up going to school for. But like I said, I got pulled in all these different directions, like for student activism, student government, ended up having like a short stint in politics, like all these different things. But I kind of got away from it. And so I was like, for 1 year, I'm gonna give this a real shot. Like, I'm going to travel the world, want to do all the things. And so I kind of went to the drawing board, thought about like what Keisha said. And I was just like, what I wanted to say. And so I was like, maps and graps. Like, I wanted to talk about, like, I want to use this as a platform to talk about international wrestling and potentially even more than that. And so, yeah, the rest is history. And so I launched the podcast at the beginning of April, just celebrated first anniversary last month. And yeah, it's been one hell of a ride ever since. But like I love podcasting. I've been doing I produce all my own stuff. Like, I'm not saying I'm the greatest producer in the world. I would love to stop producing, actually. But I love having like creative control. I love, like, you know, choosing what I like. I remember like some days I want to record something that's 40 minutes. Last night I recorded something that's 4 hours. And yeah, I just love it.
No, I get that though. Before ShElite, I was on a podcast network. And little baby didn't know what I was doing. The only girl, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the show that I created there and make it my own. So then I do have creative control over everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's so much easier. And like, I have a co-host. She's actually graduating college today, I think, or tomorrow. And I was like, I met her when she was like a sophomore in college, so that's crazy. And like, I give her creative control over shows she wants to do. She's very much into like New Japan. I've never been into that. Yeah, you and her would go to love. Great. You brought up Keeks. I've had Keeks on this show. I love her to pieces too. She is just a ball of energy, super supportive, and that's basically what this community needs, especially after everything that happened at the ROH tapings.
Woo.
Whew. Yeah, I did a nice little rant on my show last night for that.
Queen.
It's just like that's what this community needs, especially all of us women podcasters in a very male-dominated field. Like, the majority of my friends are guys, and I know they will go to bat for me if needed. And that's like, even if I don't have a nice little group of ladies that I can talk to. But now that I have like a good grouping of both, it's much easier because I've been doing this for 4 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you. I was like thinking about it. I was like, yeah, because I started during the pandemic because I was like, well, I have nothing better to do. So here we are. So Maps and Graps celebrated 1 year, which congratulations again. That's awesome. Roughly how many episodes do you think you've done?
Ooh, I am not sure. Let's see. There's been at least 30, somewhere between 30 and 40. And that's not counting the interviews, because like the interviews I count separately. But I think even with the interviews, we're looking at maybe 50, 60, somewhere between that 50 to 60 range. So yeah.
Okay. So out of that, we'll say 50 to 60, we'll include interviews in this. Do you have a favorite episode you've done?
Actually, I would say my favorite like podcast episode is the one that I did last night. Just came up with Josh from We Work Stiff. He's a great friend of mine. He runs a New Japan podcast. He's actually from Australia, and we got to meet for the first time in Japan, which is so funny, right? And we did a 4-hour talk last night about like, New Japan all together, the recent like, United Japan event, and also a preview for the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. And we also talked a lot about like, how international fans, interact with, Japanese wrestling and the distribution of it all, like really real nerd shit. But I would say like the best interview I've ever done, it's a toss up. Like it's a toss up between, I actually did one in Japan with Tekla from Stardom, which was like in person, which was incredible. She has an incredible energy. And then like I've gotten an interview with Athena and Willow Nightingale. And so those are two of my absolute favorites. But like I would say the Athena interview probably meant the most. Like we went a full hour, and I think it was originally supposed to go like 30 minutes. And there was emotion, there was tears, there was all of the things. And like I really, really, really loved that interview and the Willow interview too. But I'll go with the episode I recorded last night and the Athena interview, I think are
okay. Hey, listen, I love multiple answers. That's why we're here. Because it's like kids. Like you can't pick your favorite. Like they're all my favorite.
Like the podcast is my baby. Like I honestly, it's really hard to pick a favorite. And like what I really appreciated about it is that every time I think I have a favorite, then I record something new or meet somebody new and, record something, and that becomes like my new favorite. And so I think that for me, that's my goal of just, I want my last episode to be my favorite episode. Like, so that's a goal, to like, not to pop everybody else, but to pop myself essentially.
I mean, it's so fun being able to pop yourself. I pop my co-hosts all the time. Just, I always refer to FTR as Fear the Revolver and the Bald One, just to make her laugh, and it makes her laugh every single time I do it.
Very funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, very funny. If I say what I want about that, I'm gonna.
I mean, you can. Like I said, you can say what you want here.
We stand in agreement. That's all. That's all. We stand in agreement.
Amazing. So with these awesome episodes you get to do and these fantastic interviews that you have done, any unexpected moments that have happened, anything that kind of just like caught you off guard, made you crack up, made you cry?
All of it, actually. Like I think the life I live in wrestling is so different from the life that I live regularly. And it's not that like, how do I say it? Like my wrestling life is very much so outside of like my real life. Like I don't have friends in real life that like wrestling. Like they don't. So like everything that I do to them is just like, wow, like this is crazy. Like don't get me wrong, they know I've been a fan like for years, but like even when I started doing this, I think everybody thought I was joking at first, and then I started doing it. And especially when I started traveling, it was like, what are you doing? And so it's all been very unexpected. I'm not gonna lie, like when I got started, I didn't expect to get very far in the first year. Like I thought like, okay, if by the end of like, this period, by next February, if I've done at least maybe one scrum or I've gone to like one place, I'll be doing good. Like, all right, okay, if I've written like a few articles or something, I'd be doing fine. Like everything for me kind of like happened really fast. And now like when I think about like the shows I've been to, the countries I've been to, covering wrestling in 4 different countries in 10 months is insane, in different US cities and traveling the world. And a lot of times I do it by myself or meeting different people, and like you're flying across the world. It's been interesting. And I think also of the flip side of that, I would say like what's been unexpected, I think from a negative side, even though, I mean, I'm Black and a woman, so it should be expected, but is that it's like wrestling has always been this little thing that's been just for me, that I always enjoyed, and one, in the privacy of my own home, and 2, all of my thoughts have always been up in my head. I've never really had anybody to express them to. And so like now putting those thoughts out into the world, and everybody has an opinion. So that's definitely been something to adjust to. But yeah, it's all been unexpected. But for me, the best thing part is like building community. Like I said, I've never had friends really who love wrestling, but especially women. I've never had a female friend really who, really loved it, especially as deeply as I did. So being able to build that community, especially around people in my age range, people that I can travel with, have a great time with, and obsess over all the lore. That's been really cool for me. I really, really have enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, I mean, 4 countries in 10 months is absolutely fucking crazy. That's awesome.
Thank you. I went to London twice in 1 year. That's insane. Don't get me wrong. I'm not rich. I'm just irresponsible. I like to tell people that I am not rich. I'm just irresponsible. But yeah, that's one thing. Like for me, like when I get really inspired and when I really set my mind to something, nobody's going to tell me no. Nothing is going to stop me. So it's been fun and expensive.
Yep. Listen, you said I'm not rich. I felt that in my soul.
Most people do. I mean, like most of us are not rich, and so it's just for the love of the game, man. Like for the love of the practice.
It's because I started like traveling by myself when I went to Vegas for SummerSlam in 2021. That was like the first time I flew by myself, met people that like I've talked to on a screen and like met them in person. And I've been to Vegas twice. I'm trying to go to Vegas again for Mania, which is getting a little pricier than expected. But my friends always joke that I'm Katie Fatstacks because I go to all these shows. No, I have money. I don't know how to do it properly.
Correct. That's the right answer.
I'm glad someone understands me here.
Absolutely. 100%. I get it. Like, listen, I'll have -$3 in my account and I'm just like, so Forbidden Door, like just Forbidden Door. I will say, like, I was like, I can't do Vegas this year for Double or Nothing, but like I have my mindset. I'm like, I'm dead set on going back to London. I'm dead set on going back to London for All In this year. And so listen, if you see me there, just know my account is crying, but I'm there. Just know that.
You're there. You're there for the experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all we can ask for, Mm-hmm. We got one life.
Make one. Just one.
Just one. Be crazy if we had more, but like
I know, right?
Be a lot easier if we had more than one, but it's all right. Exactly. So when you're not traveling the world, meeting incredible people, interviewing wrestlers and other fantastic people, what other hobbies do you have?
You know what? Not enough. I like on an actual serious note, I think I actually like have really had to sit myself down, I think in the last 2 months specifically, like when Maps and Graps had its first anniversary, I'm just like, like this little side hobby seems to feel almost like a career now. And I am like, don't get me wrong, like in some ways, like that's what I've dreamed of, but also in the same time, I think when you start doing something you love with the intention of actually like, I don't know, gaining something out of it professionally in a sense, it kind of changes your love for it. And also it could drain you. And like, wrestling used to be like especially like I said, during that time of burnout and depression, like it was my saving grace and like it was like my thing. And like I'm now realizing that, I need to like find hobbies outside of this. But I do have other things that I like, of course. Like I love watching television. Like I hate myself for it, but like I love television. And the thing is, I just rewatch the same things over and over and over and over again. I'm such a creature of habit. Like, I've also like, I've decided to open that up too, of just make a special edition of the show so I can start talking about things outside of wrestling, just because I have so many things like in my mind, like Doctor Who comes back today. Hello. Like, the Bears coming back. I've been obsessed with X-Men 97. Like I'm a huge nerd. And also, to be honest, like I love spending time with like my friends, like my friends in real life. I don't get to a lot just because like a lot of my friends like have moved off to different places, and so like when I get to visit them, like I really like to just completely disconnect from the social media, all the other stuff, just because I just, especially now, like I feel like I feel like I'm getting busier and busier. Like whenever I'm with like my people, I just don't want. I'm not going to be scrolling on Twitter and seeing what people are saying about me. It's not happening. What else do I like to do? I love going to the movies. Um, the a solo theater experience is so underrated, and I've always been a big movie goer, especially since high school. Like my one of my first jobs was working at an AMC. I started my senior year of high school, and like I worked there for a while. And so one of the perks, in addition to being paid $7.50 an hour, but back then, like I thought that was doing great. But I would get free movies, and then over the summer, you get to bring two guests instead of just one. And so it was just like, oh, but I would go all the time. And so, especially like during pandemic, I just started after the pandemic, I just started to go to the movies by myself regularly. And like, I love it. There's nothing like, especially like having an empty theater to yourself, like, oh my gosh, I can yeehaw as loudly as I would like. And then, you treat yourself to a nice meal afterwards. Um, and that's another thing I like to do. Like when I go to cities that are bigger than mine, obviously, I love to go to dine-in theaters. I think like they're so cool. Like I think the whole vibe of them is really cool. Um, I'm trying to read more. Like I love reading. Sometimes I don't get enough time to do it. I have stacks and stacks and stacks of books all over my apartment. I have read some of them. I need to read the rest of them, but I keep buying more. And I love music. I collect vinyls. I have a ton. I have a huge vinyl collection, and I want to make it bigger. So yeah, I think that's about it for hobbies.
Those are some good hobbies. Listen, I love going to the movies by myself. Cinemark movie club member right here. I get a free ticket every month. I, I treated myself to a double feature a few weeks
Oh yeah,
ago. Like I went to see Abigail and then the new Godzilla and Kong movie. I was like, just gonna treat myself today. It's just one of those
exactly.
days. I trust me, like I get that. That's ever since pandemic ended. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this like once a month. I'm gonna go treat myself because
Absolutely.
some people don't want to see the same stuff I do, and like I'll go with people if like all of us want to go see something. I saw Scream 6 2 times in theaters, once by myself. Like it's just one of those things. Like, you just get to sit there, immerse yourself in the moment, and just relax.
Exactly. Like it's just like I think don't get me wrong, streaming is very comfortable. Like it's nothing. It's something. It's thing. Nothing's like being in your bed, right? But also at the same time, I feel like with the ways of the world, there's so much terrible stuff happening. Our phones can sometimes feel like prisons. Sometimes, like I think leaving the environment of your four walls is so important, and just like I think the theater experience, just from like the recliners to the darkness to the big screen, it very much so for 2-3 hours you get to just be like you get to exist, and you're completely removed from the rest of the world, the way of the world. And like for me, like I am a person like who does struggle with like social anxiety and just anxiety in general, and that is such a calming experience for me. Like I remember I was very 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 overwhelmed like last week, and I got to claw my way to the end of the week to go see Challengers and go to Olive Garden, and it was just such a it was a very experience. It was an experience that I really needed, just because I like kind of going, especially as it relates to wrestling and constantly being in front of my computer all the time, whether it's writing or podcasting or working on anything else or pitching or whatever that is. Sometimes it's just nice to not just be. I don't want to be near my laptop. Like I don't want to be near it. And so yeah, it's really cool. And also like I just think like if very few things get ran in the cinema these days, and so I think that if I actually leave my house to go to a movie, like it better be good. And so it better be good.
I get that
Yeah.
100%. It's just, I can't wait to go back to the movies. I'm so excited. I don't even know what I'm going to go see, but I can't wait to go back. It's going to be great. So this next question is, there's two on here that I always love to ask, and this is being one of them. If you could have an Olive Garden dinner, since you just brought it up, let's go Olive Garden here, with any 3 wrestlers, dead or alive, who are you choosing and why?
Oof. Going with Kenny Omega.
Okay.
I'm going with. I'd be scared to eat Olive Garden with Mercedes. I love her, but I think she might think that's too poor for her. I love her. Willow Nightingale.
Okay.
And who else would it be? Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna go with those 3.
That's a solid 3.
I think it's fun. Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. Yeah.
I mean, just sitting down, Olive Garden, those breadsticks.
Those breadsticks, man. You know, it's so funny. Me and Haley, when we got out of all of our group, we got into Greensboro first for Revolution Weekend. And so we were hungry, and I was like, do you want to go to Olive Garden? And we went to Olive Garden, and we almost started crying over the breadsticks. It was crazy. Like, it was just like, this is real music. This shit means something to me. This, like, we just kept looking at each other. And it's so funny because like, this isn't actually, it's not funny at all. But like, our friend, like Charlie, from Wrestle Periods, she's like stuck at the Charlotte airport. Her flights won't, like, miss, like the connection got canceled. Like, she's like freaking out about, like, you know, even getting to the city. Everybody else was having like travel problems and stuff like that. And we're in Olive Garden beaming,
Living your best lives.
living like Larry, man. Like, I mean, we had cocktails. I think back on that day, and it was so funny. It was so funny. I like it. In hindsight, but yeah, what a beautiful place.
Beautiful.
An amazing place. I love it. I hate to go on Olive Garden rant, but I love that place down. Like, I when I say that unlimited soup and salad, you will always be famous to me. The never ending pasta bowl, I believe, is the greatest tradition in the world. A couple years ago, I think it was my senior year of college, Olive Garden actually released these lifetime membership cards. Now, they were expensive as hell. They were very expensive, but if you bought one, you could just go at any Olive Garden at any time, just swipe one and get a meal. And I didn't have the money at a time, broke college student me, but that's one of the greatest regrets of my life. I mean that. I think of that a lot. I really wish that I could have gotten that card.
No, I get that. I would have been the same way.
I won't miss again. I promise.
No, next time that opportunity comes, -3 in that bank account, you're getting one.
Exactly.
As you should, because you deserve it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime. So, you've been in this space. You have seen the positives, the negatives, a lot of things that can happen. Do you have any advice for anyone watching or listening? Because I think I do these audio. I don't even remember anymore. Just whether it's podcasting, writing, just in general advice, anything you want to give to the people.
It is very easy to lose yourself, and it is very easy to get away from yourself. And I think it is very easy to silence yourself in fear of the backlash or criticism that you may get, especially when you're a woman, even more so when you're a woman of color and being strongly opinionated. And the thing is, nobody gets to tell you what success looks like. I think that's the biggest thing. Nobody gets to tell you who you are except for you. I always say follow passion. I think that sometimes when people are like, oh, I got to break into wrestling, so I need to be covering everything. I don't believe that. I think that you should find the thing that you like, the thing that you're passionate about, and, you know, ride it until the wheels fall off. Because I think that at the end of the day, the biggest problem that we see in wrestling now is we see people constantly talking about things that they hate, that they know that they hate, getting engagement and, you know, all these things off of things that they hate. And I knew that I never wanted to be one of those people. And so I choose to focus on things that I like. And I think that I want my platform to be something that you get inspired just because, not because of, like I said, something inspirational, but you see me being passionate about something and it inspires you to do something passionate and irrational and like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm gonna book an irresponsible flight too. Like, you know, like let's be irresponsible together. Like that's, I think that is really the important thing. Just because so many people, especially I think like truly, like especially for women, people are going to try to tell you who you are. And they're going to try to tell you to shut up, this isn't for you, like, you know, you don't get to speak, you don't get to say this. And so you have to be very firm in like what you believe and in your thoughts, but also like remind yourself that at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun. Like you're supposed to be having fun, and there has to be a balance, you know, like don't get me wrong, Twitter is a cesspool, but that can't be your only connection to the wrestling fandom. Like find community, whether it's one or two people in your group chat, you know, screaming, crying, throwing up over, you know, the elite or whatever. Find your people, and find what you want to do. Like, yeah, like genuinely find what you want to do. It doesn't matter if it's niche. If you want to start a GCW podcast weekly, do it. Like, if you want to talk about AEW, do it. If you want to talk about AEW, New Japan, and a million other peer organizations like I do it. If you want to do like, you know, WWE or TNA, like do it. Like I have a friend, like she started a podcast on British indie wrestling, and it's fucking awesome. And I think that we need to get more into stuff like that. And because the wrestling world is too wide for everybody to feel like they need to be doing the same thing. I think that wrestling is such a diverse sport and an international sport. And there's so much happening all over the world. And honestly, a lot of the stuff all over the world needs coverage and needs more women talking about it and needs more people talking about it. And so, yeah, I just encourage people to find what makes you passionate and stay true to yourself. And yeah, and also just know when to stop sometimes. Like, you know, don't engage with some of the foolishness. I look back now and a lot of the stuff that I've responded to or like waste the energy on. I look back now, it's like I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I was wasting my time. So yeah. That's it.
No, yeah, that's typically when I ask that question, it's always follow your dreams, stick with your passions, be yourself, which it's true. Like
Absolutely.
you can be yourself and you can amp it up a little bit, like on a screen. I think we all do that in some way, shape, or form. I'm cuckoo bananas half the time when I do a show, especially if you get me in the right mood. I'm crazy. It's insane.
Exactly.
But like it's, and yeah, I'm a little crazy in life, but it happens. We're all a little crazy. Sure. But and like and doing this, something I've wanted to do, and with you and traveling and writing, it's something you're passionate about. It's something you've wanted to do, and you're doing it, and you're doing it very well.
Thank you.
Of course. Listen, I've been following you for quite a bit. You're a fucking star.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And honestly, like I try not to like talk about a lot of my personal life much just because people are weirdos. Like not like
Yep.
like obviously nothing against you, but
Yeah.
truly, like with the way that I grew up and everything, like everything in my life truly is a miracle. Like I was a first generation college graduate. Like I have overly exceeded all the expectations I've had for my life at a very young age. And so like honestly, I feel like recently, like even like graduating college was the bar for me. Like that was it. Like that was going to college, period. Like that was the major milestone, like originally. And then graduating college was crazy. And then like all the stuff that I did in between, doing TEDx, Forbes Under 30 Summit, so many other things. And so it's just like kind of like now I'm 26 and I feel like I have to create new dreams for myself. And like And it's really weird. It's really weird. It's actually really scary, and it's very isolating at times. Just I can't believe I can't believe my life. It's not perfect. Obviously, I have a lot. I have a lot to complain about. I also have a lot to be proud of too. So I'm very grateful.
No, yeah, and I get that. And I always tell people, I feel like people, for some reason, open up to me. I don't know why, but
You have a trusting demeanor.
Well, thank you. I was a social work major in college. I feel like that definitely helped. So maybe that degree, don't know her, haven't done anything with it. It's fine. It's fine. Who needs it? It's fine. I'd rather be doing this anyways. I can listen to people, but I had a professor who was like stabbed in the eye with a pencil. So like, I'm good.
That happened in my freshman year of high school. That's so crazy. It happened to somebody. It was my freshman year of high school. That's so funny. That's just such a rare.
With a pencil?
Yeah, somebody got stabbed in the eye with a pencil. That's so crazy that you said that. Wait, no, it wasn't a pencil. It was a rat tail comb.
I think that might be worse.
No, it's definitely worse. No. It's worse.
Like,
terrible.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was just so funny you said that, because I was like, I've never really heard a story close to that. Like, before, until nobody ever said that out loud. I thought I was living in a monolith. That was crazy. Yeah, but yeah, that definitely happened my freshman year of high school.
Oh, my high school, the fights I saw in my high school were some of my favorite things.
Man, listen.
I talk about them to this day.
Some of them are still like up on Facebook, and like I feel so bad, but like I occasionally, when I need a little chuckle, just yeah.
Oh yeah. Like my 10-year high school reunion is happening later this year, and I hope we all just get to talk about, remember that time someone got pushed down the steps and they took out the middle school principal in the process? Just casual things.
I have a dream for my high school reunion, which is in 2 years. And I've told like some of my best friend from high school, this is just, so our senior year, there was somebody, they created an Instagram page, which was like a burn book on our senior class. And it was anonymous. And they were talking shit about so many people in our senior class, but specifically like people who were in student government, student council, and like all like in leadership position, cheerleaders, like some really very teen drama movie type shit.
It's some Mean Girls bullshit right here.
Exactly. But to this day, we still don't know who it was. And so,
really?
Yes, we still don't know who it was. And the girl that we thought it was, she kept saying, "It's not me, it's not me, it's not me." And then one of our, I remember our AP lit teacher found out. Our AP lit teacher found out. She just like stopped harassing her. Then I remember there was some of the girls thought it was me, just because like there was a head that one of the people in mentioned was like a cheerleader, and they just like, I was like, well, girl, I don't like you. I was just like, I've never, I'm touching that in your face. I would never like say it like private. I never say it privately. The whole school knows I don't like you. We didn't have to write that down. But yeah, we still don't know who it was. So at our 10-year reunion, I'm on the case.
As you should be.
And it's not like obviously I'm stewing over it. Like in hindsight, it's super funny. It's just more so of just like, I cannot stand a mystery. I need to know. I like, and it's so funny because several of us have talked about it, of just like, we still theorize to this day, like, who do you think it was? Like,
Oh, man.
So yeah, it's a mystery. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Well, 2 years time, we'll have another conversation. I need to know who is behind the burn book.
Please follow up with me. Follow up with me. I'm trying to find out. It was a fake, because the thing is, like, it got deleted after like 2 weeks, but I just want them to know that you left a lasting impression, whoever it was.
Whoever it is in the world, you made your impact in this world, in that school.
It was crazy. It was a couple weeks before prom. It was just, I know, like some really juicy stuff, like some really juicy, catty stuff. Like when I look back now, it's just like, I should have sold this to like a producer or something. Like this story is crazy.
That's an episode of Degrassi if I've ever heard one.
Exactly. Very Degrassi coded.
Love Degrassi. I was watching Degrassi while I was in Philly, like in my Airbnb. Just anytime I was there, I was just watching Degrassi on fucking Pluto TV or whatever.
I used to watch it late night. So when it came, the reruns used to come on either on both Teen Nick and then on MTV. And so that's how I used to watch Degrassi for the longest. Yeah.
It's such a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm. It's very long though. I will say, like, it's so long, and then there's so many different types of seasons, and then like you have like all these like Degrassi, Next Generation, Boiling Point, like all these different seasons. And I remember the first rerun of Degrassi I ever watched was when Jimmy got shot. Swear to God, it was so funny. And then the next rerun that I watched was when Spinner got stabbed. I said, "Am I cursed?"
You said, "Is this a curse?"
I said, huh? It's very, very, very funny stuff. Like, I'm just like, those were my first 2 Degrassi episodes because, like, I was just watching on reruns, and I said, "Oh my God!"
Those are 2 crazy ass episodes to just be like, "Oh, let me just put Degrassi on real quick." Pop.
Well, you know what? It was like 11 p.m. at night. Like I said, like these MTV reruns. It was like 11 p.m. at night, and so like I'm going to sleep traumatized.
So that's like a little bit of trauma before bed.
Some spicy before you
a little spice, exactly. Oh man, I feel like this is just leading perfectly into this. Your life, from what I have just been hearing, is a book, is a movie. If you
I've heard that numerous times.
If you could write an autobiography of your life, whether it's right now, childhood, entire life, whatever, certain part, what's the title of your autobiography? And you don't have to tell me why, but if you want to tell me why, you can.
Oh God, that's such a loaded question. You know what? I would call it serendipity. It's my favorite word.
It's a great word. Great movie.
One of my favorite movies. Oh my God. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm a sucker for a good romance, and that one is up there. I love it. Oh my gosh, from that scene in the plane when she flips over the dollar and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't do this. Let me off right now." Yes. Yes.
Oh man, love a good romance.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like serendipity is like one word, an impactful word, tells you so much, but then leaves intrigue of like, oh, why is her life serendipity? Let me go ahead and pop this book open real quick. It's gonna be like the Jeanette McCurdy, like, I'm glad my mom died type shit. Like, it's gonna get the attention of the people.
Absolutely.
And as it should. Because again, fantastic. You, as a human being. I'm also I always just like hype up the people I talk to, and I'm like, I think I need to calm down sometimes.
No, you shouldn't. Like, I know, I appreciate it. And I think that, like, more people should. And I think it's very rare, honestly. Now that I think about it, you might be the first woman who's interviewed me since, like, I've started. And, like,
really?
Yeah. Just like I said, male-dominated industry, of course. Like, I mean, yeah. And so, only one passed before. I remember I've been on one before. And, like, in ratio, I rarely get to like talk to women sometimes, and so it's always great. It's nothing like getting a compliment from a girl. Like, it's just like I'm the best thing in the world. I'm the girl's girl at heart, so it's just like, oh my gosh, like, men can tell me like, oh my gosh, you're so great. I'm like, but like when a girl tells,
true, so true, bestie. You understand. I get it.
Exactly. No, so yeah, I agree. I'm really appreciative. Seriously, I'm going to literally like be on a high for the rest of my day.
Good. You know what? We're doing this at like 1 p.m. on a Friday. Baby girl, you live the rest of your day in those high spirits. And you said Doctor Who's coming back and you love Doctor Who? Come on. You're having a great day.
It's my time.
So I'm gonna put this out on YouTube on Monday. Because it's usually when I do it, and I've been slacking in these. I've been trying, and then I was busy last month. I'll take responsibility. That was on me. So tell the people kind of what you have planning for the next, I don't know, maybe month, if there's anything you want to say you got going on.
So what I'm working on is honestly tournament. Like New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors tournament that is going to be like probably what rules my life for the next few weeks. Which means a lot of early mornings, getting up at like 4 a.m. Yay. That's fun. I told myself, I told myself I'm going to commit to staying up every single night, because a lot of times I'll fall asleep and then I'll have to rewatch it the next day. Like I've been trying to like cover a lot of the Japanese tournaments, but I am committed. I am committed to, so that's really a major priority for me. What else? I think also like Forbidden Door, like I am working really hard to make sure that I get to New York. It's like two of my favorite things colliding, my favorite American promotion and one of my favorite Japanese promotions. And also with the addition of Stardom and CMLL this year, I feel like I got to be there. Forbidden Door for me, that's one of the biggest shows of the year. That, other than Wrestle Kingdom, that's probably like the biggest show. That, Wrestle Kingdom, and All In, like those are like the three biggest shows to me. And yeah, like I'm not sure what I want to do on the interview front. I'm not sure yet. I need to like I need to go to the drawing board and see what I'm going to do on the interview front, because that's the thing. Like I said, everything has moved so fast to the point where a lot of the goals that I made for myself I've already accomplished. Like I remember writing down like people. I remember when I first like made a concept map for this podcast. I wrote down people that I knew I wanted to interview, and people that I knew that I wanted to talk to, and topics that I knew I wanted to discuss. And I would update that pretty frequently. And it's like every time I added a name to the list, it accomplished. I remember like one of those people was like Mariah May. Rocky Romero was one of the people I knew I wanted to interview one day. Athena, Willow Nightingale, right? And so, you know, the dream this year is to interview Monet. That's but by the end of 2024, I want to do it. Don't know when, don't know how, don't know where, but I know that I want to do it. So yeah, that's really, and also I'm launching Maps and Yaps, which is the non-wrestling stuff. I'm super excited about that. Like super excited about that. The first episode is going to come out really soon after the finale of X-Men 97 next week. And so I'm excited to like be myself in a whole different way. Just because like, as I am passionate about wrestling, but I love talking just as passionate about my superheroes and my Doctor Who and the Bear and all those different things. So super excited about that. But that's really what's coming down the pipeline. And of course, maybe some more writing. Who knows? But we shall see.
Oh, yeah. And listen, we are going to manifest Monet. We're manifesting this for you. Because I haven't seen many people interview her just in general.
Yep.
I think you need to be that one.
I hope so. I've heard that people say that, fingers crossed, everybody manifest it for me. Prayers, manifestation, whatever you like to put up into the universe. Yeah, that's a goal. And I used to think like, oh, I'll never get there. Like I'll never be ready for it. Like I was still like I said, like I've accomplished a lot of my dreams to this point. So I'm just like, you know what? Why not just throw another thing at the wall and hope that it sticks at this point?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've already like I said, I've really exceeded all my expectations at this point. I'm just like, I can't believe anything that I've done at this point. It's really insane.
Yeah, listen, you shoot for the moon, you land amongst the stars. Like stars is Monet. You I think you got this. I don't know how we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make this happen for you. By damn, we won't make this happen for you.
One way or another, it's gonna happen.
Hell or high water, you are going to interview Mercedes Monet this year, and it's only May. Like, you got time, plenty of time. It's great. So I always want to leave it on this. Do you have any questions for me about anything? I'm typically an open book, so I don't care.
Okay. What are you binge watching right now?
Surprisingly, nothing at this current moment in time.
You're so productive.
Know.
You're so productive. Such a productive member of society. You're so much better than me.
Who? Me? No. I just... My friends keep getting on me to start Dragon Ball Z because they're all into it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I have not given it a go yet, and they're gonna be mad at me because I know they're gonna listen to this. I'm sorry, I'll get there soon. I've just been watching a lot of just like movies, even just like fucking just YouTube videos, kind of just like since I'm sitting here, just background noise and stuff.
What was the last movie you watched?
Oh, would have been for another podcast that I do with my friend Matt, and he's gonna be mad that I always end up mentioning him in a fucking interview, and I've been good at not, so I just mentioned him. Damn it. We do a horror podcast together because he says he got me into horror movies, which is a lie. Like I knew of horror movies before. But we have a podcast on Sunday, and I had to watch Night of the Demons 2.
Oh,
it was a time.
That sounds like a movie.
Yeah, this is part of the shit Matt makes Katie watch portion of the episodes we do sometimes. So this is just what we're working on. But before that, probably would have been when I went to see Godzilla and Kong and Abigail.
It's pretty hardcore.
Listen, if anyone likes horror movies, I highly recommend Abigail. So
I don't hate horror movies, and it's not like I get scared or anything. It's just like I'm not sure if I could watch them recreationally. And I think like but the thing is, especially as I grow deeper into the wrestling community, there's so many people who like horror is their shit. Like that is their shit. Like that's their genre of choice. Like that is their little shit. And you know, I love that about people who have like their thing. Like I think because like I'm a very quirky person. I have my things, and so I love that about other people. I've just never been able to like watch them recreationally. Like, you know, it's just like, hold on, I'm having a bad day. Let me rewatch Chucky 3. Like, you know, like, I'm not sure I've ever felt that emotion. But I really, really, really admire the people like who can like wake up on a Saturday morning like with no breakfast on their stomach and be like, I'm gonna do a fucking marathon of Nightmare on Elm Street like at 11 a.m. Like that's y'all got that dog in you for sure. Like I thought I was great. Like, you know, even like me for Halloween, like I'm find myself like rewatching the Disney classics. Like I'm watching Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
Fantastic movie.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like that's my, you know, that's my thing. And then some people are just like, for 31 days, I'm going to watch a horror film every single day.
I did that. I did it last year.
Cinema. I have so much respect for you. I have so much respect for you, truly.
Oh, you're too sweet. You're fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to ask me?
I think that's all. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't eaten a day. I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible at eating all the time. And so like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little loopy. I'm slightly a bit loopy. But and probably why I keep going on these rants about Chucky.
Please.
But no, I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate this. This is actually a really great change of pace from like the conversations that I'm sometimes have to have. And so I've really had a great time.
Oh no, seriously, this was fucking awesome. You need to tell the people where they can find you, of course.
Yeah, you can find me at Lyricwrestling on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube, which is at Swinton. And yeah, the links to all of my work and everything is at the links in all of my bios on all of my social media platforms. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
And that's where y'all need to find her. You subscribe, you follow, you do the things. You do all the things for her. Please. I beg. I don't need to beg, but I beg, you know.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Listen, you are a breath of fresh air just in this community, and I had today off of work. Like, I'm going to the gym after this, and I'm going to regret that shit.
Strong woman. Yes.
Trying to be strong woman. Like, this has been a breath of fresh air. Obviously, gotta do a little plug for myself here. Katie Wrestling 13 on Twitter, Linktree, I'm about to take all things ShElite Showcase, twitch.tv/ShElite Showcase, and youtube.com/ShElite Showcase. Typically Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's like 6:15. My co-host is in Texas. She's a little late sometimes. It happens. That's what we do. At patreon.com/ShElite Showcase. We talked about horror. I got a little horror thing going on over there. I talk about true crime. I'm a little sicko sometimes, you know, and I finally got that up. Talked about the Black Dahlia case, which is crazy. Just a lot of stuff going on. And Lyric, again, thank you so much for doing this and having this fun ass conversation with me.
It was a blast. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Listen, we will. I don't know how it's gonna happen. We will get together again soon.
Yes, please.
I don't care in what capacity. Shit, we will make this happen.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed, y'all.
Fingers crossed.
Everyone, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Till then, bye-bye.